Hello chess lovers, I have an interesting game for you played by Magnus Carlsen against Teimour Radjabov. The game was played at 2009 Pearl Spring Chess Tournament. Carlsen had white pieces and he started with e4, c5 by Radjabov, Sicilian defense, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, white goes for Nezhmetdinov-Rossolimo, attack e6, white castles kingside, knight e7, c3, both preferring to establish a strong center, and also in some variations the bishop can come on c2 square, which we will actually see in the game. a6, bishop a4, b5, bishop c2, bishop b7, queen e2, d5, and e5 getting a very powerful wedge on e5 square, d4, bishop e4, placing the bishop on a more active square, queen b6, d3, rook d8 and a4, challenging black's pawn structure on the queen side, knight d5. A logical move, black both brings the knight on central d5 square and also opens up the bishop's path. But actually, instead of playing knight d5, d takes c3 is more promising. If knight takes c3, then b4, going for very intricate variations. Instead, after a4 we see knight d5, a takes b5, a takes b5, c takes d4, c takes d4, knight d2, knight f4. Now the queen retreats on d1 square and knight b4. Radjabov neglects one of the main principles of strategy and jumps right into the conflict zone before finishing his own development. It was better to play bishop e7 and prepare castling kingside, but instead we see knight b4. Knight b3, both protecting the pawn on d3, also attacking black knight on f4. Bishop takes e4, d takes e4, knight d3, bishop g5. White is developing the bishop with a tempo and at the same time is creating problems for black to develop the bishop. Rook c8 and white simply captures the pawn on d4. In return, black captures on b2, queen e2, both attacking the knight, also coming after the pawn on b5, knight c4, rook c1. Despite the seemingly firm build-up on the queen side, the black pieces are actually becoming very vulnerable. Bishop c5, a move after which black is facing serious problems. Well, bishop e7 could have prolonged the game, though after knight takes b5, queen takes b5, bishop takes e7, king takes e7, rook a7, check king f8. White can play rook a5, win back the lost material, and again white has an advantage. The black king actually stuck on f8 square is a huge problem for black. Let's go back, but after rook c1 we see bishop c5. Here comes knight takes b5 and black castles kingside, a move after which white is winning. It was better to capture on f2. If queen takes f2, then queen takes b5. If queen e2, only now black can castle kingside. Now if knight d4, then queen takes e5, rook takes c4, rook takes c4, queen takes c4, black can capture on g5. If queen takes b4, then queen e3 check, and then winning the pawn on e4 square. Though white has an advantage, but still black can fight for a draw. Black has 2 pawns against the knight. But after knight takes b5 we see castling kingside, and here comes knight takes c5 and white is actually winning a piece. Right now, if we have a look at the position, actually the way these knights are arranged is very impressive. We see knight takes e5. Now black has several options, either to capture on b5, though after queen takes b5 white can play bishop e7 and then capture on c4, and again in the end of the day this is going to be winning. Black can't capture on c5 because of this back rank mating threads. Or after knight takes c5, if queen takes c5, then this time knight d6, if rook a8, knight takes c4, and again this is winning. White has an extra piece. But after knight takes c5 we see knight takes e5. Here comes bishop e7 and finally Radjabov resigned. Of course, instead of playing bishop e7, bishop e3 is also winning, but of course bishop e7 is more precise. Now if a move like rook e8, then simply knight d6, forking the rooks, this is simply over. White is winning, that's why after bishop e7 black resigned. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave your comments. Good luck.